Did you know that when we say that God is holy, we're talking about something different when we're talking about the Trinity being holy than when we're talking about a single deity like Allah being holy? I want to think about this for just a minute today. I've heard people say God is love, talking about the Christian God, but then people also say, yeah, God is love, but he is also holy. And they say that as if somehow God being love and God being holy is contradictory to each other, like it is some kind of paradox. That a God of love and a God of holiness can somehow both be true, but it's kind of a mystery because it's really God's holiness and love are somehow at odds with each other. And this comes from the idea that a God who is holy is a distant God, a set apart God, and that this is the cold side of God, the transcendent side of God. But when we talk about people, and come by this because we think about people who we describe as holy, right? But in a derogatory way. We talk about people who are holy rollers or holier than thou type of people, right? And when we use holy this way, we describe people who are killjoys. People are serious and boring and squash any fun sense of adventure. And to be fair, we get this idea from holiness from the word in the Bible that is used most regularly to describe holiness. And that word literally means to be set apart. So if God is set apart, his holiness can sometimes to us seem elitist and seem like it's a prissy rejection of our happy self and the way we would like to live life. Because what we want to do is think we're the ones who are okay. So if God holds himself apart, if he is holy, is the one who has a problem with us, not the other way around. But the truth, though, is that God's set-apart nature is not elitist of God, but it's all about the scum that I am. So what sets God apart is not his upturned nose, but the fact that there is simply no ugly in him at all. And there is way more than enough ugly in me to go around. Jonathan Edwards once wrote, God is God, and he is distinguished from all other beings and exalted above them chiefly by his divine beauty. As the psalmist says in Psalm 96, worship the Lord in the splendor of his holiness. So what makes God holy, what makes God set apart, is his splendor. It's his beauty. That's what sets him apart from us. Now, if God were a single and a holy God, like perhaps Allah, what would set him apart is that he would look a lot, he would be away from others, right? He would be literally set apart from others because he is a God who is single and God who is alone. This would make this kind of God's holiness seem like an aloofness to us. But the holiness of the Father and the Son and the Spirit is about love. What makes the Trinity holy is the Trinity's love for each other, which is perfect and pure and beautiful. Not the grubby, self-serving, wishy-washy love we know and experience with each other. So this has implications, though, for what it means to become like God, to be like God, to be holy like God. To be holy like a God who is Trinity will look different than to be holy like a God who is single. Because the God we worship and try to be like is a single, self-centered God who is concerned about his own power and his own set-apartness, aloofness, then we will slowly become a people in this world who are the same way. Aloof from those around us, self-centered like the God we worship. But if the God we worship is set apart by a beautiful shared love, that is what we will slowly become. Because what we think about God, what we think God is like, shapes what our holiness is like, shapes how we are set apart from the rest of the world. And since our God is three in one, and this God is love, It is no surprise then at all that the two main commands God gives us in Scripture are love God and love your neighbor as yourself.